Hi, friends. We are again back with a short podcast on a very important topic with Miss Shreyaa. If you are someone who are looking to build a non-traditional path in finance domain like private equity, venture capitalist, or if you are someone who are wanting to switch their profile from financial due diligence, or if you are someone who are working in statutory audit and currently mind to make a career in buy side, which is private equity venture capitalist. So today we have with us very important guest, which is Miss Shreyaa. So I look up to Shreyaa with a inspiration, and I am telling you all the reason behind it. She has made a very profound career in venture capitalist, and she will describe her domain in details as well as guide us how a non-ranker, how a non-MBA, and what are the myths around this domain so that normal and average candidate also through their hard work can achieve such big dreams. So hi Shreya, how are you? Doing well?
Yes, I'm doing well. Hi, Sailesh. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. So, to kind of give a brief introduction about myself, sure,
Please.
Sailesh has already told you a lot. I am a chartered accountant. I have completed 3 years of my articleship with Deloitte, and I rejoined the firm post qualification as part of the financial due diligence team. I'm now part of the buy side. I work in a debt fund which invests in growing companies. So, my journey post CA has been a great learning curve as I got to shape myself from simply having a professional qualification to actually being on the road to become a well rounded professional.
Okay. So currently, where are you based out of, Shreya?
I'm based out of Chennai,
Okay.
which
And
is which is not the hub for private equity or venture capital. IB.
yeah, but then also somehow you could make it, right? But
No, I made it.
by taking strategic steps and all that, only we will learn in today's journey. So Shreya, can you tell me what was your journey post you got your results, ideologies, and things like that? Because I think it's been 2 years you have qualified, more or less.
Yes, I passed out in September 2021,
Yeah.
and as I had mentioned, I rejoined Deloitte's financial due diligence team, and I exited Deloitte in May 2023, and I joined a debt fund again in May 2023, and I'm close to completing 3 months there.
Okay. So first of all, why did you choose financial due diligence?
See, I knew that I kind of wanted to be in the space where I could um, use what I knew. And I also kind of wanted to learn more on what you already know. And from my background of 3 years with respect to statutory audit, I thought that financial due diligence would be quite a good extension of statutory audit. And also the impact which you can do as part of financial due diligence team matters in each deal because the type of analysis you carry out and the focus which is being given on diligence in each deal is crucial, especially considering all the news which you see about startup scams being coming out and the top rated comment which you see in every single article is there is no diligence being carried out. No one checks anything anymore. People just see something and then then they just proceed with the transaction, which I think which also enhances the uh, focus of financial due diligence uh, on a deal. So as part of my articleship with Deloitte, I was involved with respect to the financial services segment. And when I joined back as part of FDD also, I was working as part of financial services industry. So it came to be a very linear transition from seeing something which is there in audit to
So,
seeing something which is there as part of
in order to get into the VC space, first of all, can you help the viewers understand what is buy side actually? What is buy side and sell side?
okay. So for every deal which is being carried out, you have three sides. Basically, it's not two. First, you have your buy side, then you have your sell side, and your third is all the parties who are not involved in the buy side or sell side, and people who just support the transaction. Now, if you see financial due diligence can be part of buy side as well as sell side. And I'm sure that you already know this because we do ADDs, we do VDDs also. VDDs is where you kind of interact a lot more with your sell side, and to buy side, you do kind of report directly to your investor. So your teams with respect to your financial due diligence, your advisors, your lawyers, all of them form part of your third parties to the transaction. Basically, it's a situation where their compensation is really not dependent on whether your transaction ultimately happens or not. I mean, it's good if it does or not, but again, it is kind of not dependent on it. So now you have your sell side. Your sell side is the party which is kind of selling their stake, who's trying to bring some kind of investment into his company. Now, as part of sell side, you have your top two parties. One is your most famously, most glamorously coveted investment banking profile. And then you have the company which is actually selling its stake.
Okay.
Right. And now you come to buy side. Now, the person who's there on the buy side need not be a fund. I'm sure, as you know, as part of M&A, you can have a strategic merger, in which case your buy side is not going to be a fund. It's going to be another company who's either operating in the same space or it's operating in a completely different space and is trying to use this acquisition to gain an entry into this space. Or it's going to be a private equity fund or a private credit fund or a private debt fund, can be anything. So your buy side is basically where you will look at a deal, you will evaluate the deal all by yourself, you will prepare a thesis, and then you will present it internally to your superiors, and you get to negotiate whatever is the transaction structure with the company directly. So your buy side is from where they get money, and your your investment bankers arrange for the funds to come through. That's a saying that someone who is there as part of the sell side is in the moving business, and that someone who's there on the buy side is in the storing business. Okay. So, which I think is very apt for this.
So this was a nice intro. Now coming straight to the point, Shreya, if someone wants to move into the buy side, VC or PE, so what kind of internships did you do, and what do you suggest as a CA fresher to do such internships? Please elaborate in details, because see, these details are rarely available. These are not readily available. So please elaborate us.
Okay, so the thing, if you just go to LinkedIn as part of the job section, you just type a very basic investment analyst or research analyst. Let's be very sure.
Yeah.
Analyst, and you see the roles, and you read through the job description, and then you go through what makes someone eligible to even apply for this role. You will see tier 1 MBAs.
Correct. Agreed. 100%.
You will not just see MBAs, you will see tier 1 MBAs.
Yeah.
Very specific.
Yeah.
Some of them will have CAs, some of them will not.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think it's safe to say that a lot of candidates who kind of get into roles like this are people who are pursuing their MBA. So what they usually do is they will get into these firms as part of their pre-MBA internship, as part of their semester internship, as part of their summer internship. 2 to 3 months they'll work, and probably post-graduation, if they're lucky enough, they'll get a direct entry into it. Now, for someone who has not gone through that route, someone who is a chartered accountant, if you want to break into the space, how exactly will you do it? I did this. So I will just break this down into two parts. I will first explain what I did to get into this, and then I will explain briefly about the courses what I did, which also you can do to see if you find it helpful. Now, for someone who's there as part of financial due diligence, as you already know, we are not involved in the outcome of the deal. We come, we give our report, and then whatever they do with the report, whether they invest or don't invest, everything is up to them. So we don't get to take the call. We do issue something called as a red flag report, but we are not involved as part of the final decision making. Now, this is something which is very, very, very crucial on the buy side. Because here, as part of financial due diligence, you drill down to your most microscopic level of data, which is good if you want to get an excellent understanding of how it actually works. But you need to be able to take a step back and look at the big picture, because every business is going to have risk. Every business is going to have some issues. So they are going to be doing some things very well, some things not so well. So the skill to be able to take a step back and look, should I do this deal or not, is a call which we don't get to take as part of financial due diligence, which is important. Yeah. Because your diligence team has to remain objective. But to step on to this side, you need to be able to take that call, which is something which you'll only get through experience. So for someone who's looking to move from diligence to getting a seat at the table, what I did is, now as I had mentioned previously, I worked as part of financial due diligence team under financial services sector. So what I did is I went and searched for your private equity funds or private credit funds, private debt funds, which invested in financial services sector. Okay. Someone who's coming from an FDD background, this is your edge. This is your edge because you have analyzed these companies at a microscopic level. You have spent countless days and nights poring through every single data set which they give. So what I am trying to say is, if you're involved in at least 6 or 7 projects doing diligence on a sector, you will get to learn that sector. You will undoubtedly get to learn that sector, and you will also be able to you will also be able to derive a lot of insights from that sector. So for someone who's coming from this background, this is your edge. This is what you need to use as part of your CV. This is what you need to use when you're say sending an email on LinkedIn. This is what you need to use. These websites of these funds itself think, do you know the sector they're investing in? Do you know these companies? Have you done due diligence on these companies? Then yes, it is an excellent match if you're even able to answer 2 out of 3 questions. If you've actually done diligence on a live investment of one of their of their investee companies, then I'd say that this is an advantage which someone who's not from this background will not be able to get. So as part of your interview or as part of your CV, you will undoubtedly be asked, what do you know about this deal? Okay, probably not about this deal. Why you? Your first question. And what exactly can you tell about the type of companies which I've been investing in? Because actually this was a question which I was asked in an interview. You are fairly familiar with the companies in which we have invested in. Now, it can be that they are not the exact same companies, but these are companies which are operating in the same sector. Tell me what you think about these companies. Are they good? Are they bad? Please tell me if I should be looking at any other sub-segment inside this. If you take NBFCs, you have a lot of verticals, right? You have so many verticals. You have companies who are operating as part of personal loan segment. You have education loan segment. You have vehicle loan segment. You tell me what you think. So any vertical, right? If you are able to actually kind of explain one of their business models, how does this company make money? And is the growth which they've had so far sustainable? Because as part of the buy side, your key thing is going to be after you've pumped the money in, you need to figure out if this company is growing the way it should. Because as part of private equity, if you make an investment, you're locked in for 6-7 years. You're locked in for 6-7 years unless there is going to be any kind of secondary deal which comes through. So your key component is that you should understand the business model. You should understand how this company makes revenue. And you should also be able to understand if the growth which they've had is sustainable. It's good if they've had 2 good years, but it's not good if they've had 7 bad years and 2 good years. Okay. In short, you told Shreya, people who are from FDD background, they should, other than only writing the report and looking after the red flags and all, they should also understand the investment from the holistic picture, so as to why a certain fund is investing. So this was a brief answer for those people who wants to switch from FDD to buy side.
because there are very handful of people who get the opportunity of FDD after CA, after qualifying CA. You also know.
Already a niche role. So from there you're trying to get to an even more niche role.
So
your road is not going to be linear.
So this was for FDD. Now, what about the people who are not from the FDD background, which holds 80% of the chunk? Matlab rather, whole chunk belongs to people who are from non-FDD background.
Okay, so I will give you whatever I have learned. So one thing which I did is I tried to learn more about what is there in your buy side, because in your buy side you have VC, you have PE, and you do have a lot of components. So first I picked VC. So I did 3 courses, which I think are there as part of my LinkedIn page. I did one course from a company called Ripple X Ventures, and then I did 2 venture capital fellowships, one free, one paid. One from something called Venture Co-operative, which is hosted by Laconia, and one from VenCapital. Now, the first thing which you should know is no internship course or fellowship is ever going to guarantee you a job. It is only your network which is going to provide you the opportunity to cinch the deal. And whatever course you do, whatever video you have watched, whatever assignments you have done, is going to help you learn about the ecosystem, right? So the kind of bonus which you get from doing a fellowship, which you don't get simply as part of an online courses. So as part of a fellowship, you will also be asked to scout companies, talk to founders who are there in the subsegment. Okay. Find a good deal for me. Find a good for me. You prepare a thesis and you present it to them, right? So the best thing about this is you're actually getting experience on what someone who works on the buy side carries out on a day-to-day basis. You learn 10 times more from actually doing it. That is the key philosophy.
They will involve you into the life project, I think.
So the thing is, how each fellowship kind of works is different, right? It's not compulsory that you need to scout a company and bring it to them, but if you have this platform, I would very strongly suggest that. Okay. So can you brief a little about all these internships? Basically the tenure of this internship, or what are the charges? Is it possible with job a person has to leave his job? Because see, people in statutory audit and all, and even FDD as well, so hardly they get any time. This is the fact, right? They will be. Can you brief us about the internship, three internships which you told, which you mentioned? Can you brief the freshers or young finance professionals so as to what are the costs involved, where all the details are available, and tenure, is it possible with job and all? Brief us a little about each internships that you did. Okay, so the thing is, I did 2 or 3 offline courses, and then I did 2 fellowships, right? So the way the way which your course works is very, very different from the way a fellowship works, because you need to make an application, you need to go through multiple rounds of interview to be accepted as a fellow. Whereas it is not the same case as, trying to enroll for a course which is there as part of Coursera or LinkedIn. You don't need to make any application. So I will focus a little bit more on the fellowships and slightly less on the course, because it's very obvious what. Yeah. Okay, so I will break this into 3 things. First is your costs. Second is time involved. And the third thing is how exactly to, break into all these fellowships and your applications, and what you can do once you reach that. So the first thing is as far as costs are involved, you have both free and paid versions. I think I've done a post with respect to VC fellowships as well. Yeah, so he will be sharing that link with you. So, and your next thing is time. I finished the free versions first, but I still wanted to learn more. I kind of wanted to get proper hands-on experience, which is why I enrolled for a paid fellowship, and I greatly enjoyed it because I got to make a lot of connections. I got to speak with VCs who are actually doing this stuff on a day-to-day basis, and I got to learn from them, how do you look at a deal, right? Because it's common knowledge that a VC does not spend more than I don't think they spend more than 30 seconds on one pitch deck. That's about it.
Okay.
In 30 seconds, they take a call. Am I proceeding with this further or not? Do I want to know more about this company or not? So you need to learn to take the call. It's only experience. That's all it comes from. Okay. And your second thing is time. So time is a tricky thing because normally these fellowships run for 2.5 months, 2.5 to 3 months. It's going to vary. And they will normally have weekly sessions. Weekly sessions. Some of them will even have sessions twice a week. So again, it's going to keep changing with each fellowship, but you should be expecting to commit at least 6 to 8 hours per week.
Okay. Okay.
6 to 8 hours can be including classes and it can be excluding also, because again, it's going to vary greatly with the type of fellowship. So broadly speaking, this is going to be your investment, and also you will need to spend time to kind of learn about the ecosystem yourself, because the thing is, as part of these fellowships, they will give you a lot of links. Go through all these companies, go through this material, go through that material, and you need to put the time to actually read it, because this is a proper forum. If you read it and you have questions, you can actually ask them. Can actually say, what does this mean? What is a cap table and why is it important?
Okay. Okay. Got it.
There's something which you can actually ask them. Tell me what this means. Why is this so relevant in a deal? Why on earth should I spend so much time learning about it? The cap table is a very critical component. Yeah. So as far I can say, this is the two things. And coming to the third thing, which is your application process.
Yeah.
Right. So the thing is, your VC application is going to split into two parts. First part is all your generic application. So your first version is going to be all of your generic uh, data with respect to the applicant, name, country, place of work, education, such and such. And your next part is the key part. So you need to nail 3 questions, which are mostly going to be there as part of every VC or pre-fellowship application. Which you why VC or why P? Why on earth are you interested in this field out of your hundreds of fields which are available? Why this field and why this program? And third, what exactly are you expecting to learn from this program, or your experiences be able to contribute to your cohort, right? Because so things, all of these fellowships will run on cohorts. So for each cohort, you can have 12 to 15 people, right? So it has to be peer-to-peer learning. You need to learn from someone else and someone else needs to learn from you. So these are your top 3 questions. And your fourth question is, which companies will you invest in? Any sector of your choice and why? Right. So your common parlance is, if you're saying no to a deal, you should have a lot more reasoning as to why you're saying no, because people generally don't take being told no very well. Right. If someone has given up their proper job or their proper careers to set up a venture, and then they present you a deck for all this, if you're just looking at this and saying no, it's not going to look good. And if you're saying yes, you also need to know what information do you need to proceed further with this deal. So what I did is I just picked 2 companies of my choice, and then I just prepared a very brief report of why this company and why not this company. I took 2 companies, one for which I said yes, provided to, and the second company to which I said I am not comfortable with this company due to these factors, but your ultimate decision is to the person who reads it. So I covered the following things: a brief overview about the company. Brief overview about the company, when it was incorporated, who are the management team. VC or management team matters a lot, because your company really does not have a lot of vintage to go on. And the second thing is, how has this company grown? How have they grown in the last 2 years or 3 years or over the last 5 years? What is the problem they are trying to solve? Why exactly do you need to invest in this venture? What is something which excites you about this venture? The fourth thing is, what are the key risks and opportunities which you see in this sector? If you have seen similar companies in this sector, you also should be able to say how they are performing. If everyone in this sector is struggling, that's one thing. But if a lot of companies are able to show potential, however, this venture isn't, It's also something which you need to understand. Why? And if this is a problem which you can help with as part of your investment. So
And
I think
this application will rather decide whether you will get a yes or no for the fellowship, right? It is how important.
This application will decide whether or not you proceed to the next round of your interview process.
Okay. Okay.
So look at your application, and then they will decide whether or not to even call you for an interview. So as part of that interview, they will try to understand you in a greater detail, because a lot of these fellowships are in very high demand. So
these are going on round the year.
Some of them do.
Okay. And
so I think you have fellowships which are open only in March. You have courses which are like open year round, and then you have courses which are open twice a year. Again, it keeps varying with each one.
Okay. Yeah, that's okay. Now, is there a qualification criteria? That means you need to be a CA with certain work ex, you need to be CS, or it is whole and soul your determination and your understanding? Okay.
It's fine even if you are only doing your BCom of your first year. It's perfectly fine.
Okay.
But you should be able to demonstrate these top 3 questions. Why VC? Why PE? Why this program? What do you hope to learn about this? Sorry. What do you hope to learn from this program? It's okay even if you can't answer your last question, right? If you're a fresher, I don't think you will be able to contribute a lot to this part, but that's fine. So your focus is going to be more on what do you want to learn. It's not like you can just go and say, I want to learn everything. No, no one learns everything. Right. So I think it helps a lot if you're actually clear in what you're looking for. And that is what helped me as part of my fellowship interviews. When I was speaking to both the founders of these fellowships, that's what I told them. Look, this is where I am. This is where I want to be. And this is what I need to help me get there. So,
because
this is what I need to do.
It adds on to your profile naturally. It will not guarantee you a VC job offer, but it shows your determination.
Nothing is going to guarantee you a job offer. Nothing is going to guarantee
it. But it guarantees the fact that you are going an extra mile to achieve your objective.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the most important thing, it gives you a network.
Yeah, it gives you a network.
I think both of us know that trying to get in a firm via referral works much faster.
Yeah. Agreed.
It gives you a network. Someone will know someone who knows someone. It's a very small world.
Yeah. Agreed.